Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 69. We have two articles for you tonight. The first one has to do with the man who vandalized Jeffrey Epstein's house and wrote Epstein didn't kill himself on his Palm Beach mansion. And the second article has to do with the Zorro Ranch and some more about Prince Andrew and how the ranch was just covered in pictures of Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton and all sorts of famous people. So we're going to dive into both of those articles tonight here on the Daily Drop. And, you know, it follows what we've been following, right? It just is more evidence building up about Epstein's relationships with these powerful people. All of these people that have issued the fiercest denials are the people that are the most caught up with Epstein. And isn't that how it works? The people that are screaming from the hilltops that they have nothing to do with Epstein, well, here they are, as deep could be with the man, thick as thieves. You know, we have reports that Epstein was going to the White House in the 90s. We have reports of him with Prince Andrew many more times than one would say. We have reports about Dershowitz getting massages at Epstein's, and we all know what massages means, but according to Dershowitz, he kept his underwear on, so that's cool. That's all right. You know, a young girl massaging you is fine as long as you keep your drawers on. I guess in Dershowitz's world, that's cool. And the way that guy is, well, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. The thought that Trump would add Dershowitz to his impeachment team is absolutely laughable, and it's a joke, and it sickens me, to be honest with you. Dershowitz should be scorned. He shouldn't be propped up. He should not be brought into a position where he is, you know, given credibility when he has these accusations looming over his head. How about he answers for these accusations first? Get him under oath, let's see what he has to say, and then we could talk about maybe him moving on. But until then, he's directly in the crosshairs. Why the Trump team would even think about putting Dershowitz on their defense team is absolutely positively beyond me. They didn't learn from their Acosta incident, so they just want to compound the problem and add this guy who's actually accused of doing these dastardly things? I don't understand. Like, sometimes I wonder if there's people that are around Donald Trump that are, you know, giving him bad advice on purpose, because some of the decisions he makes are just mind-boggling to me. The optics are so bad. He already said he didn't know Prince Andrew. There's pictures of him with Ghislaine Maxwell and with Epstein. And even while you might not think that he had anything to do with the actual trafficking, it's bad optics to want to add Dershowitz to the team, and I get it. Dershowitz is a passionate voice, and it's a separate issue. There's no doubt that he is not wrong about the abuse of power from certain people in the American government. But that's neither here nor there. This man is, these are serious accusations. It's not like someone's accusing him of cheating on his wife. These are serious accusations, and for the Trump team to even think about putting Dershowitz on their team is mind-boggling to me. I know it's a little bit of a rant that it really doesn't have to do with these two topics, completely, but it kind of does, considering that, you know, Zorro Ranch is, you know, littered with photos of these powerful people, and it all wraps around to the same thing. Dershowitz was the man who was the architect of that plea deal, the one where it gave immunity to everybody, including himself. So it's all circular in this case, right? You get involved with one of these people and you start investigating them, and you see they all wrap around each other. It's like tentacles from a great gigantic kraken just sliding out across the earth onto every continent, wrapping their fingers and their dirty little tentacles into every single part of power, whether it be academia, whether it be military, whether it be the government itself, law enforcement, you name it. These people were in as thick as thieves with these people. And yet here we are with Ghislaine Maxwell still running free, with all of these people still running free, and we have no answers. Well, this guy that we're about to talk about, who defaced Jeffrey Epstein's pad, obviously had enough. This is probably probably listening to this podcast, this guy, because he's fired up. And that's my kind of guy. Now, obviously, I don't think anyone should ever break the law, should never go deface anyone's property or anything like that, because, once again, you do not want to get caught up with law enforcement in this country. You do not want to be in the system. So any sort of defacement of property or anything like that is not a good idea, folks. So this gentleman, I mean, I get it. I understand he's mad, but you're going to get yourself in big trouble doing things like this. But like I said, I applaud his courage and his oomph. He's saying, you know what, I've had enough. This is my protest. This is my art protest. Because remember, he was the same guy who wrote next to the banana situation, the banana art exhibit or whatever in Miami. It's the same guy, I guess. So I guess he could just say, look, this is my expression of art. How about that? I guess it all comes down to what you believe at this point. So we're going to jump into these articles, but first, if you want to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. All right, this article is from the Washington Examiner, and the headline is, Epstein's $12 million Palm Beach mansion graffitied by duct-taped banana art vandal. The headline, though, graffitied by duct-taped banana art vandal. This guy's a legend, huh? Banana art vandal? Oh, this guy's he'll be able to market this he should be able to flip this into something for himself. Rod Weber, or Weber, I'm not really sure how you pronounce it, the man who defaced a $120,000 piece of art earlier this week, painted Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself on what appears to be the Palm Beach home of the deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. I made an update to Jeffrey Epstein's house. I call this one Stain on Us All, Weber said in a Facebook post on Tuesday, explaining his deliberately misspelled message. Epstein didn't kill himself, scrawled on a gate. The 46-year-old took footage of the graffiti and posted it online. Epstain didn't kill himself. The Palm Beach police told the Washington Examiner they had received no calls from Epstein's estate about the graffiti, and no complaint about the matter has yet been filed. The house, part of the financial mogul's extensive real estate holdings, is estimated to be worth $12 million. Epstein purchased the home in 1990 for a reported $2.5 million. The posh mansion, which sits on the Florida waterfront, was where he allegedly raped many of the dozen of underage girls who have accused him of abuse. Weber also vandalized a $120,000 piece of duct-tape banana art at a Miami art gallery on Sunday. $120,000 piece of banana art. Are you guys kidding me? This clown tapes a banana to the wall and calls it art. All right, cool, I guess. So I'm going to tape some raviolis to my wall, and I want, I'm going to cut that in half. I just want $60,000 for my ravioli art. Weber also vandalized a $120,000 piece of duct tape banana art at a Miami art gallery on Sunday. He wrote, Epstein didn't kill himself on the display and was arrested for criminal mischief. He told the Washington Examiner that he did the stunt to prove the gallery was using the artwork as a publicity stunt. If they pressed charges, it would expose them as the frauds they are. They had me arrested, so now we know who they are and the kind of people the art world are comprised of, he said. Well, I don't know if the art world's, any worse than any other part of the world. I'm sure there's a lot of sickos in the art world, but this guy's quite the character, huh? Going straight graffiti on everybody. Weber, whatever his name is, said the police have not contacted him about vandalizing Epstein's home, but he told the Washington Examiner that his defacement of property was intended to bring attention to the stories that do not fit the official narrative. I don't know for certain what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, but the meme is a symbol, he said in a Wednesday statement. The government has proven over and over again that it cannot be trusted, so why should we believe the official narrative put out by the government? He ain't wrong about that. I agree with the guy on that. I don't believe anything they tell me at this point. If they tell me the sky is blue, I'm going to have to research that and look for myself, because why should I trust the same people who have brought us such great things as, 9/11, the Iraq War, the Arab Spring, you name it, right? The overthrow of countless governments, the turmoil and upheaval in South and Central America. This is all because of the CIA and their meddling. So why in the world would I listen to what they have to say about anything? Their buddies in the government, the DOJ, or anybody else who's, formulating these narratives. They're going to need to provide some evidence, not just their words. That's all. My arrests have been for no more than speaking truth to power, But since the corporate news refuses to do their job, it is now necessary for acts of civil disobedience to keep these stories alive, he added. Well, like I said, I don't agree with that, folks. I definitely don't think anybody should be going out and, damaging anybody else's property or acting like a maniac. That's not how we're going to get to where we want to go in this case. Now, I'm not saying that eventually we shouldn't, get together on some sort of rally in front of the Justice Department and demand justice or something like that. That's very American. But defacing someone's property, I'm not down with all of that. That's a little bit not my style anyway. I prefer to do my damage with words, right? The pen is much mightier than the sword, and getting the message out there is the most important thing. But you know what? Everybody has their own hustle. I'm not knocking this dude for what he believes in. If that's what he believes in and that's what he thinks is going to get the message out there, then hey, look, do you, buddy. If you're willing to do the time and get caught up in the system, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that what you should and shouldn't do with your life. Hey, whatever. That's fine with me. But me personally, I would never have anything to do with defacing anyone's property. The last thing I ever want to do is get caught up with these knuckleheads in law enforcement, because that's a long road, a long process, and you just do not want your name on the radar. So there's that story from the Examiner, and Mr. Weber is, he's rebelling in his own way, I guess, doing his own form of counter-protest, I guess. Like I said, his own form of art. That's the excuse I would use if I was him. That would be my defense. I'd be like, look, this is my form of art. I was using his mansion as a canvas. I figured that people would, respect it. Like when somebody passes away and they throw a mural up on a wall, I was just doing the same thing. I wanted to bring recognition to it. See, I'm not a lawyer, but I think that, if I was a juror, I might let him off with that. Or a judge, I guess. I don't know if you'd go to a jury trial over something like that. I'm guessing not. But if I was a judge, I'd probably be moved by that argument. All right. Our next article, a little bit more serious, is from The Sun. And the headline of that article is Prince and the Pedo. Photos of Prince Andrew with Epstein littered the pedophile's ranch where tycoon hosted underage sex parties. And I've been talking about Zorro Ranch for quite some time, folks. I think it's a very under-discussed piece of property. I think it was tactically purchased to be where it was. I think he wanted to be around those scientific institutes, especially around with his buddy Gelman. I think he wanted to be around those institutes because he had a lot of money tied up with them. And I think he had this whole idea that he was going to use this New Mexico ranch as the place where he seeded all of these women. He said it in his own words, so he could populate the earth with his DNA. That's the sort of self-aggrandizement that went on in this man's head. That's the sort of hubris he had. Not only was he running this blackmail operation for whoever his handlers were, he was also a sick and sordid son of a bitch, and that is why he was picked to do this job. Insiders reveal the New Mexico hideaway was home to galleries of pictures of the dead fiend with his many famous and powerful pals. So there's a ton of pictures in this article, guys. So make sure you click on the article when you go to the description box. Make sure you click on it and come check out some of these pictures. They say the multimillionaire liked to boast about his A-list inner circle, and there were a bunch of pictures of the under fire royal hanging on the walls. He doesn't really know him, though. He only met him a couple of handful of times. Oh, hey. All right, what are you guys, crazy? Everybody's crazy. He was really friends with Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew, not with Jeffrey Epstein, because that makes it a lot better. Maxwell's not a monster or anything. That's who you're hanging your hat on. That's who you're using as your friend, as your excuse. Whoa, buddy, you're in big trouble if that is your alibi, if that is your excuse, if that is the person that's going to speak to the content of your character, sir. You are in for a world of hurt. Epstein even had an X-rated portrait of a nude Ghislaine Maxwell with her legs wide open as the centerpiece of an underage party pool. What in the ever-living F is that? An underage party pool? Oh, yeah. I mean, come on, man. Really? Sometimes I read stuff and I have to just stop for a minute in these articles because I'm absolutely positively disgusted. An underage party pool. Here's an idea. Let's bury all of these people. All right? Let's bury all of these people in an underage party pool and then cover them all up inside of this pool with concrete and let them all suffocate to death. Because that's how disgusting they are. That's the sort of fate that people who molest these children, that's what they deserve. Absolutely disgusting, folks. I mean, come on. Just beyond the pale. An underaged party pool. Ugh. The painting overlooked a pool and a group hot tub, according to a former IT advisor who worked on Epstein's internet, security, and communications. It's allegedly where the depraved billionaire who died in August entertained underage sex-trafficked girls and their guests at his 10,000-acre desert ranch. All right, folks, it's locked in. The second week or so of January, I am going down to this Zorro ranch myself. I have to have a look for myself. Highly doubt I'll get access to the ranch, but I'm going down to speak to some of the residents of the town. I need to know who came, who went. I have some answers, but I have no questions. So since the legacy media won't do it, I'm going to have to do it. So I'll be hopping in my car in the next few weeks and going to New Mexico, I guess, to try and get some damn answers. Because this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this is absolutely positively ridiculous. All we hear about is Palm Beach, New York, and the Caribbean. We never hear about this Zorro ranch. And I'll tell you what, folks, it looks like there's some dastardly stuff occurring at this ranch. This ranch needs more scrutiny, and Bill Richardson needs to answer some damn questions. The consultant also claims there were pictures of Epstein with the prince in common areas. Of course there were. He liked to floss about that stuff, right? He wanted everyone to know the circles he ran in. And if you were coming in to be abused, well, he wanted you to know, look, these are the people I run with. You try any shit, well, you're going to have to deal with them, and we all know what that means. In that room, all the furniture and artwork were nudes, copulating couples, and fertility statues. Boy, this sounds like a fantastic place to come to a party. What kind of normal person walks into a place and sees this sort of artwork and is just like, that's cool. Let me go home and tell my husband Joe about this. Are you kidding me? If I walked into a place with this sort of artwork that's obviously disgusting pedo type shit, which a lot of these rich and famous people have, I would turn right around and walk out and never look back. I couldn't care less what you could offer me. I couldn't care less. I could not care less how much power you had or what you could offer my charity or my association. The second I got a whiff of something like this, I would turn on my heel and split. Normal people don't have paintings like this. You walk into someone's house and a painting of Jesus or something, painting, an Ansel Adams painting, something like that. The kid stuff, it's so gross. And paintings of your supposed girlfriend, your madam, whatever, sitting there with her legs spread, spread eagle for the world to see her goods. Nobody wants to see that. Put it away. Nobody wants to see your merkin. There was this huge painting of Ghislaine naked with her legs open, 6 foot by 6 foot. She was on a chair leaning back with her legs open. You could see everything. She would definitely have posed for that. It was in the basement. By the pool, he said. Yeah, so that's great. I want to go take a dip, then come swimming on up after a nice refreshing dip to see that. A 6 foot by 6 foot picture of her junk. Yeah, that is a great idea. Why would anyone have a picture like that in their home unless they're some sort of sick, depraved maniac? You just add, and again, if it was standing on its own, we could be like, all right, well, maybe he's into his chick and he wanted to show her off, blah, blah, blah. But this, when you take it in context with the rest of the things that this guy was up to and the rest of the things that all these other people that were involved with him were up to, you got to say to yourself, what in the F are these people thinking? Why would you associate with this man? But he had so many photos. There were pictures everywhere. John Travolta, Bill Clinton, and there were a bunch of photos of Prince Andrew in the house. He liked to brag about the people he knew. And we know that for a fact because all the girls have said that as well. How he would brag about the people he ran with and the circles he ran with and how powerful they were. And what that was that what he was doing there was he was threatening them, but in an unassuming manner, right? Passively, aggressively threatening them. When he ran into trouble in Florida in 2005, that's when the photos quickly came down and we didn't see them again. There was one room that was just sex-obsessed, where everything from the embroidered pillows, couches, statues, and sculptures were of nude women, couples having sex, or fertility statues. Yep, that's a normal room. You walk into grandma's house and that's exactly what you find, right? What the... I mean, come on, this is an old-ass man, too. Don't you have anything better to do with your time? Why don't you collect regular artwork, sir? I'll tell you why he didn't collect regular artwork. Because he wasn't a normal man. He was depraved, he was sick, and he was a monster. And all these people that were around him that saw this artwork, they knew that there was something off, but they didn't care because it benefited them to stick around and hang out with him. All they cared about was either A, their social status, or B, consolidating their power. How often do you have to hear me say it? The consolidation of power is all that these rich and elite people care about. And they do not care about collateral damage. The means justifies the end every single time. He adds, she had an office upstairs. She spent more time at the ranch than he did preparing it for his arrivals. See what I mean? This was like a base camp for Maxwell. I'm telling you, there's a lot of there, folks. So I'm very excited to get this new year started off, and I'm excited to get out there eventually. You know, it's going to be very interesting to see what I can uncover. I'd see what was on her computers, modeling pictures of girls and that kind of thing. They look professional, some of them. The ranch is one of several Epstein homes where underage girls were flown in from all around the world. Maxwell, 57, is accused of procuring young girls for the disgraced financier and even taken part in the abuse herself. She has not been seen since Epstein was found dead in his New York jail cell from an alleged suicide. The New York Times claimed the convicted pedophile confided in scientists that he planned to impregnate up to 20 women at a time at the ranch to improve the human race with his genes. Well, there you go, folks. That's it. Jeffrey Epstein's going to improve the whole entire human race with his sick, depraved genes. Well, we're all set now. No reason to worry. The world is saved. Call in Greta Thunberg and tell her she doesn't have to worry about climate change. Call in everybody who's worried about anything and let them know. We don't have to worry anymore, folks. Epstein's going to save the world by impregnating girls 20 at a time at his Zorro ranch. Are you kidding me? This is the ranch that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton went to go spend family vacations at with their kid? Ay, yay, yay. He says most of Epstein's staff couldn't abide him as he treated them like dirt. Oh, that doesn't shock me. Most of these elite do. They don't care about us. If they're raping your kids and they're molesting girls and they're raping women, do you think they really care about their staff? He wasn't very employee-friendly. They were just a tool. He fired some woman on the spot for not handing him a roll in the kitchen. He had a meltdown. Oh, did the molester not get a roll? It must have been great to see him sitting on his floor and eating his dinner from a plate on the floor in the dirty, roach-infested cell in MCC. The only thing that's too bad is that he didn't have more days there to suffer and to think about what he did. And then after those days, that he wasn't buried underneath a cell, a federal prison, because that's what he deserved. A life of misery, taken away from all of his nice things, taken away from his life of luxury, taken away from his protectors, taken away from his enablers, and forced to become the prey. There was a tray of rolls. They were having breakfast, and she wanted one, and she said, "They're right there," and threw a fit because she didn't get them, he says. He'd throw a royal fit. Did he learn that from Andrew, throwing a royal fit? If there was dirt in the place, there was a bin of booties near the entrance, and you'd have to change into them when you'd enter the house. Yeah, you know, he's so worried about dirt all over his floor. Meanwhile, he's the dirtiest piece of shit in the history of the world. So his snail trail that he drags behind him of just crap and dirt and disgustingness outweighs any sort of dirt that could come in off of anybody's shoe, no matter what activity they were participating in. He'd only wear his hoodie, shirts, and some other clothing only once. They lived in fear of being fired if they saw something, but people didn't want to know too much. Another source claimed that some of Epstein's staff were so fearful of him that they still don't believe he's dead and suffer a similar sort of case to Stockholm Syndrome, where people who have been kidnapped develop irrational feelings for their captors. They added, some employees think he's still alive. They expect him to show up on Little St. James Island. They don't believe he's dead. They're still being paid by the estate. What the... I mean, like I said, there are some people that believe that too. I am not one of them. I haven't seen that evidence that leads me there. But once again, I am not going to discount anything at this point, folks. This case is so crazy, so weird, so wacky that even as skeptical as I am of most of this stuff, I am not discounting anything. Maxwell has always denied any wrongdoing. Maxwell has always denied any wrongdoing. Sun Online reached out to representatives for Maxwell for comment. All right, so again, no comment from the Maxwell camp. Supposedly her lawyers know where she is because they filed a brief in her name with the Maxwell case that has to do with no turning over of the files. They don't want to have those released, but nobody else knows where Maxwell is. So I really don't know what to say about that. I mean, I highly doubt that Maxwell is going to do that interview she talked about, folks. I mean, it would be bad news for her. If she saw what happened to her buddy Andrew, I really don't think Maxwell, as shrewd as she is, or the people that handle her, are going to let her step out into the spotlight and do that interview. If Maxwell's going to be brought to justice, she is going to have to be subpoenaed, tracked down, chased down, and arrested. The same way common, average criminals are dealt with. Why is she being dealt with in a different manner? Why is she giving a chance for this full, robust investigation when just a few of these accounts are enough to get her arrested at the very least? What do prosecutors always say? They could get a ham sandwich indicted in front of a grand jury. So how about you start indicting this ham sandwich, folks? Why are you leaving it up to us, the independent media, journalists and content creators, and the folks that are tirelessly studying this case and following this case and listening to podcasts like this one? Why are you leaving it up to us? Do your job. Arrest this woman already. This is the year 2020 that's coming upon us, folks. And you already know how I feel, what 2020 is going to be. This is going to be the year that the predators turn into the prey. And we're going to make sure that we keep hammering it home that Ghislaine Maxwell needs to be arrested. I'm absolutely sickened by her. I'm sickened by Jeffrey Epstein. I'm sickened by everybody involved in this case. I'm sickened by Dershowitz. All of the people involved in this case sicken me. They're all liars in my opinion, and none of them have provided defense that is worth anything. No viable defense has been provided by any of these people in this case. Dershowitz continues to show no remorse. Epstein, well, we all know his fate, either suicide or murder. Either way, he's sleeping with the fishes with Luca Brasi. And the rest of these people, the song goes on, the dance goes on. But we're not going to let them get away with it. We're not letting them get away with it this time. Not this time, folks. Not this case, not this time, not on our watch. Their party is over. It's time to bring them to justice. If you would like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. If you would like to support the show, you can click on the GoFundMe link inside the description box and do it right there. Also, remember, folks, click on the link of the articles so that you can read along with what I was reading. And then a lot of these articles have great pictures as well. So make sure you're checking those out, looking at those pictures so you get a complete idea of what's going on. Until tomorrow morning, I hope everybody has a great night.